Can you remember the last time you saw a comma van? I certainly can't. I definitely can't remember the last time I saw one with a mid-mounted V8. Absolutely balmy, but I like it very much. Maybe something a bit more sedate is your style, like a Rover 75. A nice, luxurious V6 with leather interior. Or a nearly cowley built base spec car, which is we can see by the black sills at the bottom and the early registration. The owner actually spent quite some time seeking out this car and it's absolutely immaculate. Maybe something a bit older is more your scene. There were certainly plenty of old British cars on show at the Motorist. Many old Triumphs, amongst other marks. Or this old Mini. For our younger viewers, this is a proper Mini Clubman. Still the standard saloon format, but with the Clubman front end and interior, as opposed to the modern Mini Clubmans, which are actually just a designation for the estate. Or how about this lovely Mark III Capri Laser? There was a time where Capris were all over our roads, but now you seldom see them. To be honest though, the one I really got excited about was this Mark II. Now, Mark IIs seem to be some of the rarest. You often see Mark IIIs or the Mark Is at shows, but I honestly can't remember the last time I saw a Mark II. Especially one like this, which is a John Player Special. Even rarer by the fact that this JPS is not black, but white, to which the owner told me there are even fewer of them around. We chatted for a while. He told me about his 2 decades or so being involved with Capris. Now, it's a car that's quite close to my heart because my dad actually had a Mark II 1.6S in yellow, which is the car he actually owned when I was born. Now, this car is actually pretty stock in terms of specification, but anything that's needed doing to it has been done, and to a much higher standard than what it would have been when it left the factory. And the owner did say, obviously, this car does get used, goes out on family trips, holidays. It's even got a tow bar fitted, and he did say he had pulled a caravan with this car before. Now, the Capri Mark II wasn't the only car that was of interest to me, because there was another car I had a look at there that was very similar to the car that my dad actually owned before his Capri. And that was a TR7. Now, the one here isn't actually a 7, it's a TR8, the difference being this is a V8 rather than a 4-cylinder. It's also a convertible, where the one my dad had was a hardtop version. But again, a car you seldom see anywhere these days. And to be honest, they weren't actually that well received at the time with the wedge shape. There were a lot of traditionalists actually favoured the TR6 over the 7, with much more traditional styling. But it wasn't just all British cars at the Motorist. There was so much more to see beyond. But even for a child of the 80s who grew up with posters of mid-engined Italian supercars, you've got to admire some of these old classic British cars. I mean, they're absolutely stunning, but you can see that for yourself. Something like this Saab I think of as a modern car, but Saab's actually been gone now for around a decade. Obviously this certainly isn't your standard family runaround. Something else unusual is this Honda. I don't think I've ever seen one of these on the road before either. I'm almost certain I've probably seen one in the used car lists of one of the early Gran Turismo games. The Motorist really does attract an eclectic mix of cars. Something like this, for example. Definitely I don't normally see one of these in the supermarket car park. There really is something for everybody down at the Motorist. I actually spent quite a lot of time looking at this American car as well. Mostly because I was trying to read all the stickers that were all over this car, and as you may expect, it was absolutely enormous. This wasn't the only American vehicle there either on the night. Those who know me well will be able to tell you I'm a huge fan of French hot hatches, and just like this 205 GTI, 1.6 this version, of course there was also 1.9. The XS was also another great little car that's often overlooked. Oh, what about a Porsche? 911, I think this 993, but correct me if I'm wrong. A fair few Punto Evo Abarths as well. There is actually a local Abarth club, quite often see a lot of 595s and 124s. Or maybe Japanese is more your thing, like this Civic Type R, or these fantastic rotary engined RX-8s. Very interesting car, but again, not one I've ever been brave enough to own. Now, we saw all the British cars early on. There was also quite a few TVRs on site on this evening as well. Now, sadly, I did have some audio problems, so there are a few scenes where you should be listening to some fantastic TVRs, but instead you've got me. I'll be back at the Motorist again very, very soon, so do consider subscribing to see more videos of this nature. There are also some other events that I'm hoping to attend, and there's some more updates on them again in the pipeline too. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye till next time.